So I'm continuing the trend of what is your guilty pleasure stacking. Started by Bionic FishyFish and watched a couple others. Spokane did one and Silverstruck did one. So I'm going to do mine. My guilty pleasure is stacking anything Revolutionary War related. I am a huge history buff, and I have family that fought in the Battle of Lexington and Concord, and the shot heard around the world. And anything related to Revolutionary War is something I love. So I'm going to show you a couple of my pieces. I'm always adding to it, and a couple of them are kind of cool. I'll even stack 925 sterling. So a couple of these are sterling pieces, like this is a sterling piece. This guy up here is a sterling piece. I really don't care. A couple of copper pieces, doesn't matter. Just anything Revolutionary War. So here we go. This is a Bicentennial Piece, 1776 to 1976. Really nice American bicentennial. My family participated in a lot of reenactments during the bicentennial, and I was a little too young to do it, but really would have loved it. This is a Lexington and Concord piece, and if you've ever been to Lexington and Concord, you know this this statue. It's right there at the North Bridge where the shot heard around the world was. And this is the Paul Revere coin. And Paul Revere obviously had a big part in that, but also two other writers, Paul Revere, William Dawes, and Samuel Prescott, whereas the other one. The only one that actually made it to Concord was Samuel Prescott. Paul Revere, William Dawes met up in Lexington and alerted the Lexington militia. And then on their way to Concord, they ran into Samuel Prescott, who was actually coming back from Concord at 1 a.m. after visiting his girlfriend. He was going back to Lexington. He was a son of Liberty, and he knew Paul Revere and William Dawes, and the three of them turned around and started back for Concord and got intercepted by a regiment of British troops who were sent out in anticipation of the raid. Paul Revere was captured. William Dawes got thrown from his horse and escaped into the woods and walked back to Lexington. And Samuel Prescott is the only one that got away and made it to Concord and alerted the Concord militia and let them know what was going on. Paul Revere has a cool story. He was being held by 6 British soldiers, and they said something to the fact of, now we have you, you're our prisoner. And Paul Revere said, soon there will be 5,000 militiamen, and they will have you, and you will be their prisoner. And they let him go, and they let him walk back to Lexington. So kind of cool story. This one is a Continental Congress piece. This was the Congress that was formed in 1773 and 4. And it was essentially formed to decide if they were going to oppose the taxation acts that the government had put on them. So this is a John Adams piece. Here is a committee of correspondence. Back then they had different committees, and these were essentially one of the first acts of Congress was to create these committees. The committees of correspondence was essentially a secret rider network to get documents and information throughout the colonies that would not get intercepted by the British. Other committees were the Committee of Secret Correspondence. That one was actually a step beyond this committee, and it was run by Benjamin Franklin. It was one of the first spy networks, and it was correspondence. The Secret Correspondence Committee was international. He was sent over to France, and his job was to try to get supplies for the war and also to get other countries to support us in the war. And then this is a Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, and Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson obviously was the larger part of the authorship of the Declaration of Independence, but there was a handful of founding fathers who were part of that. This is my Uss Constitution coin. This was one of the ships during the Revolutionary War. It's a lovely little piece. The Don't Tread on Me was a rallying cry. This is a piece I showed before. This is a Philadelphia piece with the Liberty Bell, the Bicentennial City. So this was a bicentennial piece that was made in 1976. Here is a Constitution of America. So this is the 200th anniversary of the Constitution, which was 1787 to 1987. And these are the founding fathers. Here's a nice little sterling silver piece of a Kentucky rifle. These weren't very prevalent during the war, but they were in the southern colonies. Rifling was relatively new at this point. Most muskets were all smoothbore, but there were some rifling being done in the southern colonies, obviously, especially in Kentucky, but mostly in Pennsylvania. The Germans were fantastic gunsmiths, and they settled in Pennsylvania. This is, again, another Battle of Lexington piece. This was a wood carving that was done in a kind of a cool thing. You can't really tell here, but this guy right here in the painting, the original painting, which is in the Lexington, Concord Lexington Museum, is my uncle, Richard, is the reenactor who this painting was made from. So they were doing a reenactment during the Bicentennial in 1976, and he was in this regiment, and in the painting itself, this is my Uncle Richard, which is kind of cool. And then it talks a little bit about the First Battle of Lexington with the 70 colonial militiamen up against 200 British troops. That's a really cool story. Sometime I'll go into it. This is a Boston Tea Party coin, which I showed in one of my last videos. Again, another Don't Tread on Me verse. Love that. This is a sterling silver piece of the statue that is in Lexington and Concord. Really cool. This piece I got from my friend Silverstruck for Christmas. We did a mystery trade, and I just love it. Cool little cannon. And then this one is mine. So I have a 69 caliber musket that was fashioned after a 1750s gun, and it shoots the 69 caliber lead balls. Because I like silver so much, I actually poured one in silver. I shot it into a sandbank and dug it out. And so that's my silver musket ball. I guess I could kill a werewolf with my musket. So that's it. That is my guilty pleasure. Anything Revolutionary War is something I'm into. I will always pay more for it. I don't care. It's just something I like, and I will always like. These pieces don't go in my box stack. They actually have a display behind me in my office where I keep these pieces out. So that's my guilty pleasure. I hope you guys all kind of pick it up and run with it. I'd love to see everybody else's. Have a great day.